Welcome to the Geek Homeworld. I am your host, Savage Tech Man. We talk sci-fi, TV, movies, superheroes, and all from a geek perspective. You can find us on Blogger, Google+, Twitter, Facebook. We're everywhere. Join the Geek Homeworld. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful episode of the Geek Homeworld. I am Ed, aka Savage Tech Man, along with Scott. Welcome back,
Schreiber, for those that forget.
Wow,
Hey,
Mr.
hey.
Scott.
That's right.
Schreiber.
Doctor.
Mr.
Doctor?
Mr. Doctor. This is a special episode. It might run a little bit longer. Usually ours do when you're on here, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
No, it's conversational.
It's very conversational.
We can talk movies all day. At least I know I can.
Yeah, I could too. And this is our fall movie preview. So this is going to cover basically from September all the way to the end of the year. So we're going to mention real quick. I'm just going to kick right off and with 4 movies that have come out by their release dates. And we're going to kind of run this by release dates, and we're going to talk a little bit about each one, but we may skim through a bunch of these. But this is just to give you an overview of what, since we're getting into Oscar season, there's less geeky movies in this list, but these are some of the movies that we're going to be talking about that are going to be Academy Award nominees for, whatever.
Absolutely. To me, this is the best 3 or 4 months of the year. The greatest movies come out in this time, in my opinion. You still get your tent poles during the holidays and whatnot, but you got your Oscar contenders. Which
coming out of the summer, and you can listen to one of our episodes where we wrapped up the summer. Basically, it's kind of disappointing box office wise, and there were a few gems in there, but most of it was just big budget sequels.
Yeah, the big winners we went over, Wonder Woman.
Right. And so kicking off our fall movie preview are these 4 movies, and the first one was It.
Yeah, let's start with the most successful one, It.
Exactly. The highest rated R-rated horror film of all time.
Just beat out Exorcist, yeah.
Yeah, not adjusted for inflation, obviously, but I don't go to movies like this. You do, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm a big horror film fan.
And because I'm a fraidy cat, it doesn't take much. I'm scared of my own shadow. So I went to see it with you, and exceptional. I could see it again and not have nightmares.
It was extremely well done. A great update to the original.
Mm-hmm.
The original, when you watch it now, it does seem a little dated. The
Probably
acting's
a little
not
cheesier
great.
It's
a little
absolutely
TV. Yeah, it's made for TV. A little cheesy. The special effects are early days of the '80s. So
when the little kid, and I guess I don't have to call spoiler alert because everybody's seen it at this point, pretty much.
Well, 300 million. You would
Almost
think
box
most
office,
people have seen it.
So yeah, but when the little kid reaches down in the sewer to get the little paper boat, and then
the opening scene.
Yeah, and he rips his arm off. I'm like, oh my.
Yeah, I thought that was a brave choice from the director. It was setting the tone for the whole movie.
Yeah.
It was basically saying, okay, this is the kind of movie you're about to see. Yeah.
But it worked. It worked on every level. Anyway, so that came out September 8th, kicking off our fall season of movies. American Assassin came out the 15th. I've not seen it. I still want to see it.
Me neither, and I don't think it's done very well.
It's done okay.
It might have to wait for that one to come to Netflix or something.
And we saw Kingsman: The Golden Circle, which is actually trending lower than the original at this time.
It was a fun movie.
It was fun.
When you're watching it, you're having a good time. But then, when I got home and I started thinking about it, it's like some of the stuff is so absurd.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's almost too cartoonish.
When Elton John's in your movie, and that was one of the better parts of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was great. He should get... No, he shouldn't get a nomination for that. But no. I don't know. It was weird, but it was cool. It was just suspended belief in my brain, and enjoyed it.
And I like seeing Julianne Moore as a villain too, so that was fun. But still, yeah, it's the fun factor, it lives up to the first one, but as far as substance, it does not.
Exactly. Now, American Made, which I was confusing American Assassin with American Made, and you were like, we were back and forth with it, and I was wrong. But it came out September 25th. Tom Cruise. Other than The Mummy and a few other things, I don't think there's much that he can do wrong. And I love watching Tom Cruise on big screen.
Well, he's getting great reviews for this, saying it's one of his better performances in his career. It's a Doug Liman film, who he teamed up with on Edge of Tomorrow a few years back.
Which was very good.
Yes, absolutely. And so I believe they have a good working rapport together.
Right. And remember I said to you in the theater, I was like, oh, an Oscar nomination.
Well,
and you laughed.
I do laugh because, like, for Tom Cruise to get a nomination, I think he has to do something miraculous. Because he doesn't.
Extremely serious.
Yeah.
And like heart wrenching. And
because I think the last thing, I feel like his last nomination was Magnolia. And that was
might have been,
like 99. And, and a much deserving. Like, the only thing I can think of since then that is Oscar-worthy performance was probably Collateral.
Yeah.
But and he's got the chops, but he's so invested in making these big blockbuster stunt movies, and I don't blame him.
I don't care. I'm gonna watch Mission Impossible 10, of course. If we get to that, because I just love the action. I respect
as
him
he's free falling from space.
Yeah, Mission Impossible's space station. I don't know.
No.
But anyway, so that's kind of the past, and we're looking forward to the future here. And that kicked off our fall movie preview. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, one I do want to touch on that is like very polarizing was Mother with Jennifer Lawrence. This is one of those movies that either you hate it or you love it.
Well, box office wise, everyone hated it, but you said it was a much better movie than it was given credit for.
If you have the open mind to see film as art, and then you're gonna enjoy it,
right?
But I can see how 80% of the audience will not like it. It's just it's so audacious, and it is a one man's opinion on the world, and it's Darren Aronofsky, the writer director, and they did something so bold that I applaud it, and I think that the critics are going to like it, but yeah, it's not going to make its money. I think the marketing was wrong. They marketed it as a horror film when it's more of like this, existential creep show. But anyway, I just wanted to touch on Mother because I do think it is an important film. I think it'll get some Oscar consideration.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think critically it will do well. And the Oscars don't matter. I mean, they don't think about, or the Academy doesn't really think about box office usually, so that won't be a factor.
We missed one that came out the 22nd on here, Stronger with Jake Gyllenhaal, which you saw. I did not see, but
yeah, and he's the first like shoe-in that I've seen that I can say
he's going to get a nomination.
Hands down, there's no doubt. Jake Gyllenhaal will be up for Best Actor for this movie. He is really good in it. Miranda Richardson plays his mother, is really good in it. I'd never really seen her just disappear into a character like that, and she was really good. She could get supporting.
Good acting,
I could see,
good acting,
but with its patriotic themes and tones, I think it could.
There'll be some movies that are coming up. We noticed that there were some in there that were of a patriotic tone, and with everything kind of going on with the flag and everything, and protest. And all that. So, this may be the time that there's a not backlash. That's not the word I'm looking for, but, maybe a rise in more patriotic movies. I don't know,
Well, I could definitely see them, the Academy, picking out these patriotic films.
If you look at that, we have American Assassin, American Made, and we have Stronger, which is the character.
And there's going to be a few more along the way, too.
I don't know. But for those of you who aren't United States citizens or, in this country or whatever, and around the world, you may not care as much, but it's cool. Anyway, we're just moving forward. October 6th, we've got a movie that we're both highly anticipating. All year I've wanted to see this.
It's my most anticipated film of the year, and we don't have to wait long. It's this weekend.
It's probably my second most anticipated one.
Well, I understand. Yeah,
I'm a Star Wars
I think the only reason I say mine is because Star Wars, there's been so many installments. Don't get me wrong, when those words scroll across the screen, that slow crawl, I get chills up my spine. But
yeah.
But Blade Runner, it's only
2049,
the second installment. You know, the first one was
30 years ago, like
yeah.
1980, 81, somewhere.
And so, you know, and they've got the right personnel here. I mean, Ridley Scott is back. He's producing, and not directing, but producing. But I think they got a great director to do this, Denis Villeneuve, who did Sicario, Arrival. I think his first one was Prisoners.
Arrival was wonderful.
It was amazing.
It was one of my favorite movies of last year.
He knocks it out of the park every time, and it's amazing. Like back to back to back years, he's an amazing filmmaker. And then they've got, of course, Gosling. They got Harrison Ford back. Jared Leto, Robin Wright. I mean, you got
a stellar cast,
Absolutely.
and visually, I know it's going to be stunning. And
you just see the trailers.
This is an IMAX 3D event for me. If it's in 3D, I'm sure it will probably be.
Absolutely.
And we may even look at refreshing ourselves on either watching the director's cut or watching the double feature.
It's good to do it because it's connected to.
And for me, it's been years since I've sat down and actually watched it all the way through.
No, and there are important questions to refresh. Like, is Harrison Ford's character is Declan a replicant?
Well, they say there are so many points in the director's cut that point to the answer, and we'll definitely get an answer in this one. I'm going on record and saying he probably is. But then, who knows?
Yeah.
It could go either way. So, Blade Runner, October 6th. And
that same weekend, we've also got The Mountain Between Us.
With Idris Elba and
Kate Winslet.
That looks stellar. It looks like
good.
Because he's a doctor trying to get somewhere to do an operation. And she's like, hey, let's catch this private plane, whatever it is. And then they crash somewhere in the mountains. And
yeah, I mean, it's an intriguing story. Two strangers crashed and
totally
have
different worlds,
depend on each other to survive.
You know,
and a dog. You throw in a dog. I love it.
Yeah, I know. Please let the dog survive.
Well, the dog will survive better than a human would, I would think.
Probably. So another one going into nationwide release. It's already out now, but Victoria and Abdul.
Yes. Yeah.
With Dame Judi Dench in it, and I forgot the gentleman's name who plays Abdul in there.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised again. Like Judi Dench, she can be on screen for 5 minutes. I
love when Tracy Ullman does a Judi Dench.
Oh yeah, that's good.
It's so hilarious. But yeah, I'm so looking forward to this movie. I think it'll be fun. Me and Cheryl are gonna probably go check it out. And
it's a great story about cultural
differences and actually accepting
them.
Those differences.
Well, assuming.
But all in all, it looks like it's going to be a really good movie.
Yeah, it could be a Best Picture contender. Stephen Frears is the director on that. He did Grifters, and last one he did was Philomena. So that one.
Philomena was awesome.
Yeah, fantastic.
Awesome movie. Anyway, we have also on the that's not the 6th. Going forward to October 13th. Thank you. The Foreigner with Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan is kind of the bad guy in this one, which is interesting. And he's basically looking for, you took my daughter.
Yeah. For me, it looks
kind
predictable.
Of
it looks predictable, looks formulaic, but it's nice to see Jackie Chan in this kind of role, though. I think that's the appeal. That's the appeal of this.
And you see the pain in him in this, at least from the trailer. Yeah. And Pierce Brosnan playing a bad guy, playing against type, because he's always been the good guy in James Bond back in the day. And seeing them play basically against, what you'd expect. But you get some Jackie Chan, what he does best is physicality and stuff like that. But I think we're going to see an emotional depth that we've never seen on film from him. So I don't want to put everybody on this list as being like Academy Award nominees or some kind of nominees.
Well, it's that time.
But I don't know.
You never know.
Yeah, the fever's starting,
Yeah,
so.
I mean, could definitely, he could slip in there. You never know. I mean, and you got that same week, I don't think it's on your list. I just found it. Andrew Garfield is in Breathe, which it's another one that's like he could be up for an Oscar again. It's actually it's Andy Serkis's directorial debut.
Wow.
Yeah, which would be cool to see that.
Everybody wants to direct.
Yeah, right.
Wants to direct it. I must.
But yeah, so that theme continues on the 13th.
This could be an Academy Award nominated film. Yep. Marshall, about Thurgood Marshall, Supreme Court Justice, right?
Correct.
And
And it looks like it's the story.
See, the first African American, is that correct? Supreme Court Justice. I should know. I know I'm putting myself on the spot. I should know that. I should know my history, and I don't on this one. I apologize for that. I believe he was. Anyway, it's going to be an excellent movie.
Well, yeah, it looks like it centers on one of his landmark cases where he's defending a black defendant who's accused of raping a white girl, I believe. And it's like, so it kind of follows that and follows.
So it's going to be intense. It's going to be great performances in that. October 20th, and this is just pure sci-fi fun. Cheryl and I, we love disaster movies, and this is from, I believe, the director of ID4. Not Resurgence, which he Roland Emmerich, but Geostorm. Could it happen? Never. No, but is it fun? It's like the day after tomorrow.
Oh, it's like I just saw the newest trailer for it, and it is eye candy, man.
It is big time eye candy, and I'll be in the seat. I could almost go to IMAX for this one because I know it's over the top, and I love weather. So this was one that we kind of previewed, but not really previewed, or we couldn't include yet on our. Top 10 weather disaster movies. But that could probably be in a future.
Kind of got us thinking there. And then we're getting into Halloween territory here. You're going to see some more scary movies. One from the previous week I'll just mention was Happy Death Day. It's like Groundhog Day, but a horror film. And then you've also got, let's see, on the 20. Oh, Boo, Tyler Perry's a Medea Halloween.
Yeah.
And then Snowman, probably the most, I would say, refined of all those films.
Right, and that's got Michael Fassbender in it, and he's just an exceptional actor, and he can bring the intensity.
Oh yeah.
And I just think that's good. I might actually I want to see that. I'm putting it out there. I want to see that. So after that'll be like the other scary movie I see. Now, we have Wonderstruck.
Yes.
That's also coming out on the 20th. That looks
really unique. It's like these two worlds, it's directed by Todd Haynes, who did Carol and Far From Heaven. He's got these lush colors. Visually, he's a stunning filmmaker, and it's with Julianne Moore. And
who's a wonderful actress.
Yeah, and then it's also got in these parts of the film look like they're shot in black and white, and in those scenes there's this little girl and she's deaf, and from reading an article about her, she actually is deaf, and which is I think will be interesting to see if she does a fantastic job. I could see her, supporting actress.
I could see her winning it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just not just because of that, but what maybe she's had to overcome to do that.
Well, role, the challenges of it are incredible, and I think that's part of the story too.
Yeah,
so.
And even if you aren't deaf, I mean, if you give a great performance, obviously, that would still merit an award nomination or a win. We have another one opening for these that we're interested in. Only the Brave on October 20th.
That's another one of the patriotic films here. It's a true story of, I believe, Arizona firefighters. A lot of the men in their company lost their lives, so it's the true story of that with Josh Brolin and Miles Teller, I believe.
Okay. And then we're getting closer and closer to Halloween, and a movie you're going to see that I'm not going to see with you because I'm not a fan of the franchise. Too scary for me.
Yeah, my guilty pleasure. I love good horror films, and when the original came out, and that is Saw, it changed the game. When Saw came out, it just changed the horror genre completely. And I understand why people don't like those movies, but to me, they're fun. I know that's a strange thing to say.
When limbs are being chopped off and people are being sawed in half, and I don't like the gore.
It's more, and I think I've said it on here before. It's more about how they do that than wanting to see it. But yeah, Jigsaw, and it's like I want to say it's the 6th, maybe the 7th installment of the
because they said there were no more Saws. The final Saw.
They did it. I think that the last one was 3D, and they're like, this is the final one. And then, of course, Halloween comes around a couple years later, and they'll be like, oh, we got to make money.
So that's October 27th. We've got a bunch of other ones coming out.
Yeah. There's a lot of these are more independent. Killing of a Sacred Deer. It's the same director. He's a Greek filmmaker that did The Lobster with Colin Farrell, and this time he's got Colin Farrell again and Nicole Kidman. So it's getting a little buzz. He's a unique filmmaker. The Lobster was definitely one of those that was.
I've not seen The Lobster.
It was it was polarizing, like kind of like Mother. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
But that should get some recognition. We've got Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. It's the true story of the author who created Wonder Woman and his wife and their unconventional marriage.
Okay. Yeah, that looks interesting. Suburbicon, directed by
George Clooney. The script was originally written by the Coen brothers. They wrote it in the 80s, and it just kind of sat around, and they talked with, when they worked with Clooney, they kind of talked about the script, and finally Clooney came to them and said, "Hey, can I take a stab at that?" And they gave him the rights to the script. So him and his producing partner Grant Heslov, they worked on the script and they put it out, or they're putting it out, starring Matt Damon, Julianne Moore, Oscar Isaac. It looks like a Coen Brothers movie, but directed by Clooney. I think that will be a fun one to go see. And then the last one on the 27th is another patriotic one, and depending on how well it's done, it could be a contender. That's Thank You for Your Service with Miles Teller, another war film.
Yeah, there's a lot of them there. November 3rd, we get into probably the biggest Marvel sci-fi movie of the year for me, Thor Ragnarok. Yeah. Thor and the Hulk going at it, yeah. And it has so been redone, this version of Thor. It doesn't even compare to the other two movies. It kind of makes them look stale.
Which, for me, is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, I really didn't enjoy the first Thor, and
I did, because I've always been a Thor fan, but not as much. But I haven't, but I think they represented it well. Of course, Loki, you can't get any better. They've pretty much nailed that role of Loki, but I mean they could do more with it. But anyway, you're gonna have Loki in it, and
what's the introduction of Valkyrie? I believe.
Yeah, and it's gonna be just a fun movie. But what I was saying, and I've said this before on previous episodes, it so feels like Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's
tone, absolutely.
Yeah, and what is the Zeppelin song?
That's Immigrant Song.
Immigrant Song, yeah, which classic. And to see that on the Thor movie, you're like, okay.
Yeah, especially when Zeppelin doesn't release their songs like that much. I think
that's
there
amazing,
was one trailer before that this year that was allowed to use it too.
Somebody used Kashmir on something.
I think it was the King Arthur.
Maybe.
I think King Arthur got to use Led Zeppelin, and that was not a good omen.
Yeah, it's bad. Hopefully, it won't be for Thor Ragnarok, but it's going to be a lot of fun. They've totally changed. Yeah.
And how about? I'm sorry, but I just realized my favorite actress out there, Cate Blanchett's playing the villain in it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it just looks very stylized. It's very radically different. I mean, they changed Thor to cut his hair off, destroyed the hammer. I'm like, what in the world, And so that's my sci-fi one that I'm really psyched for.
Oh yeah.
Here we go with another one coming out November 4. This isn't the patriotic one, is it? Last Flag Flying?
Yes, that's the.
Well, it is. Yes,
that's Bryan Cranston, Steve Carell, Lawrence Fishburne kind of road trip movie. Yeah. No, that's the
other one. Sorry, there's so many. I'm getting confused.
I know there is. And
coming up soon, we'll talk about one with Dustin Hoffman. It's going to be awesome.
Well, I think we skipped over that one, but
did we?
we can come back to it. But the Last Flag Flying, it's writer-director Richard Linklater, who did Boyhood, Dazed and Confused, and it's basically the story of these three Vietnam vets who come back together.
Oh yeah. And Lawrence Fishburne's the minister or whatever,
correct, yes.
And he was rowdy back in the day, and now he's a man of God.
Now he's a man of God, and Steve Carell's character, his son, is killed in service, and so it's kind of this story about like him going to get his body, and the fight between him and the government on whether he can be buried at Arlington or with his family,
and he of course wants to take him home to be buried with the family,
and so it's got all that political intrigue and
and he was against war. He honored his son's service, but Steve Carell's character is not really much for war,
and that could be a sneaky one come award season.
Yeah,
that could sneak in there. And what else was there on the 3rd? Oh,
Lady Bird.
Lady Bird, was that on the 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay.
November 3rd.
I'll trust you on that.
You should see my handwriting on here, my notes I made.
It's either the 3rd or the 10th, but anyway, Lady Bird.
I think I got it down as the 3rd.
Okay.
They may have changed it.
It doesn't really matter. It's in that same early November. Lady Bird.
Yes.
It's Greta Gerwig's directorial debut. She's kind of become this independent darling as an actress for Noah Baumbach's films, who is actually in the Dustin Hoffman movie you just alluded to. And I believe that one's called The Meyerowitz Stories, and it looked like it's straight to Netflix. It's Adam Sandler, Dustin Hoffman, and Ben Stiller. So an interesting cast there. So I like seeing Sandler do serious stuff. But to get back to it, Lady Bird, Greta Gerwig's directorial debut is starring Saoirse Ronan, who was just nominated for Brooklyn. She was nominated when she was a kid for Atonement, a great Irish actress.
Yeah.
So that one should be a good film. And then one of the lone comedies of the fall is coming out on the 3rd of November is Bad Moms Christmas.
I didn't even bother to put that on, but counter programming. So
Well, yeah, I think that this is going to be if you're looking for comedy, there aren't going to be many.
Because a lot of this is heavy stuff.
Right.
It's
there are dramedies out there, but not a lot of just straight comedies. So I think Bad Moms Christmas is going to do well. There's not much else out there in that genre,
right?
And the first one did really well.
Exactly.
So I believe that one is one that should be on your radar. Fun comedy to go see if you're looking for one.
Now we have another one on November 3rd. November 3rd is a busy day for new releases. Roman Israel.
Yeah, Roman Israel Esquire, Denzel Washington. He's getting buzzed for Best Actor again.
Good.
Yeah,
excellent actor.
Absolutely. And I believe that, I'm trying to think of who directed that one. It's not one. That one's not coming to the tip of my tongue, so we'll move on to the 10th.
Okay, November 10th. I love the first movie, Daddy's Home 2, with Mark Wahlberg and,
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. I just forgot his name. And it adds,
I think, yes, what you're getting when you're saying it adds Mel Gibson
as his father, and he's
as
the
Wahlberg's
badass,
father.
and perfect casting there.
It really is, especially with John Lithgow.
John Lithgow, he's like, I haven't seen, and you've all seen the trailer. I haven't seen him in a long time. It's been 2 weeks or whatever. And they're like hugging and kissing. It's so funny. It's the first one was hilarious, and this one is just going to be. I think
it has the potential to be better. The first one I remember having moments, but then there were certain things, and I know you're supposed to suspend disbelief. Right. The part where he goes into the electric wire, or the telephone wires or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be electrocuted that way. You have to have a ground. Science. So little stuff like that bother me, but you're
doing our pub star trivia. You said science, so we all have to yell out science. Sorry.
But yeah, I think Daddy's Home 2 has the potential of being better, and is again, with the shortage of comedies, could do really well in the box office.
Now, Murder on the Orient Express 2017, because this has been redone so many times.
Well,
and
I don't know if this Murder. It's not
as
much as 10 Little Indians, not as much as And Then There Were None. That feels like that one's been done to death, and we're talking about Agatha Christie. But I like, there's the classic from the 60s with Ingrid, or was it maybe early 70s? Ingrid Bergman won an Oscar, like a huge cast. And it's like the same thing. It's like Kenneth Branagh is directing and starring as Perot.
He was a big Thor fan. He directed the first Thor movie. So, he got it right.
He got it right. So yeah, he
and he's done a lot of Shakespeare.
This cast is
movies.
He did
he's
Hamlet.
a great actor.
Yeah, Hamlet and
Shakespeare in Love.
No.
They changed it.
Yeah.
Oh. No one tells me.
But yeah, the cast on that is amazing. You got Daisy Ridley in it. You got Johnny Depp. You got Michelle Pfeiffer she's not got on a comeback tear here. And that one I'm really looking forward to. I used to read Agatha Christie as a kid.
Yeah,
loved her stuff.
I read Hardy Boys, I'm sure, and whatever else I was supposed to read.
Kid, I should say, as a teenager.
Yeah. But
I was 4 years old reading Agatha Christie.
Wow. Murder on the Playground. No, I don't know. That's terrible.
But here's one that I'm excited about because I've known about it for probably 5 years now. It was being filmed around my hometown in Western North Carolina.
My hometown.
In my hometown. And it's called Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And it's starring Frances McDormand. And from the trailers, you can pretty much pencil her in, maybe even put it in pen that she'll be up for it. Best Actress.
It's very earthy. It doesn't. It feels like it's a good solid movie. The trailer didn't blow me away, but I think sometimes you have to be in that mindset of it.
One we just watched was, I hadn't seen the one that, because I just showed you it to get you familiar with it, and the one we watched, it wasn't the one that I was familiar with, and the other one is more powerful.
Yeah, because this one seems,
and
it seems to crack the surface of it.
It shows Peter Dinklage more in the one that I've seen too. That one, he was barely in it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But you've got Frances McDormand, Sam Rockwell, Woody Harrelson, Peter Dinklage. It's basically this story about a mother who's lost her daughter who's been murdered, and she's trying to get the police to move their feet.
And Woody Harrelson is really changing or enhancing his career. He's showing he's got a little bit more acting muscle than just comedies and such. And I mean, even in War for the Planet of the Apes, I mean, he had a compelling emotional part as that person in the movie there. And so he's bringing out more of that side of him. I feel like as an actor, he's starting to finally, a lot of actors, Robin Williams was probably one of the best known that started in comedy and then got, I love when he got to Side of the Photo Guy, and
1 hour photo.
1 hour photo and not Collateral. That was Tom Cruise. What was the other movie he did? Insomnia. Yeah. Those were
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. Christopher. Oh, let's not. Yeah, that's awesome. But anyway, I'm getting off track there.
It's all right. I love talking about.
Yeah. This episode could go on forever, but it's cool.
We're only in mid-November.
Oh Lord,
we're getting there.
November 17th. I have to see this movie. It's got to do good. But it may be the last time we see Affleck as Batfleck. I mean, he's done a great job as Batman.
Well, as far as we know, I'm sorry, Justice League.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
As far as we know, like as of right now, I think he's still acting in the new Batman, but they pulled him as director.
They pulled him as director. Then they threw the script away, and I don't know if all that's. I think it's a fallout from Batman versus Superman. I mean that hinged, and now Wonder Woman is now the biggest thing in that franchise, pretty much in the DC extended universe, and so.
And if she's not a major part of this, people are going to be disappointed.
They're going to be very disappointed. But you know what? How good Wonder Woman has saved DC at this point. And this is talk for another episode, more in depth. But seeing how Justice League does, Justice League needs to be like the first Avengers movie. It needs to. And I could already tell, we all could, how the tone changed after Suicide Squad came out, and they both did good box office, and Suicide Squad was just under what Batman versus Superman did, but Batman versus Superman so divided DC fans, left and right, and critics from the actual fans, that it changed the tone of Justice League. I mean, Justice League's gone through reshoots and everything, and Superman.
Yeah,
I forgot his name.
Oh, Henry Cavill.
Thank you. He's working on, is it Mission Impossible? The next Mission Impossible, I think.
I don't know.
I think it was Mission Impossible, and he's contractually obligated to have the beard or whatever he had.
Yeah.
And so they had to digitally go back and remove every hair, and I'm sure they hated that,
Oh God,
in parts of the movie. So
cost time and money.
Or actually, that might have actually been in Justice League when they were filming Justice League. I think it was Justice League, not Batman versus Superman. So because he's filming it now, or they're wrapping, or getting close to. So
Wait a minute, Superman's in this?
I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. Yeah, you've seen possibly. He's gonna. He's gonna.
He's got.
He's got to be. And the balance of power is now. It's now Wonder Woman's universe. She's now the main character.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like if growing up, the Incredible Hulk was really a big character with on TV and everything else, and they tried a couple times and it didn't take off. Iron Man wasn't always a big character in Marvel either, along with the Hulk. But, I mean, he wasn't a major character, but Robert Downey Jr. so owned that role, kind of like Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman now. like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and it's totally shifted the balance of power. I feel bad for Henry but if it helps the overall story arc, I just want a badass movie. I want to see Darkseid. We already know we're getting parademons. I want to see them fight, and I want to see some just crazy destruction, but I want to see some heart. I want to see the characters fleshed out more, the Flash and Cyborg.
Right, and that was the big issue with Batman versus Superman was your introduction to these characters was, hey, here's a file.
Here's a file on a video screen. Yeah, Honest Trailers does a great job of blowing holes in that film. And there's like so many subplots, and Lex Luthor and his plots are like, wow, I don't remember that. I remember it. You should definitely check it out.
There's something to be said for character development, even in these comic book movies.
Right. And I don't want to spend much time on Justice League there, but because I'm gonna watch it regardless. Even if it's just poop on the screen, I'm gonna probably watch it
3 times.
Probably. Let's get on to some other ones. Wonder.
Yes, Wonder. We'll just touch on this one. It's very similar to Mask from the '80s with Eric Stoltz
and Cher. She won. No, she didn't. She didn't.
Not
get
for that
nominated.
One.
She won for not Moonlighting.
Yeah, for Moonstruck.
Moonstruck, which is a classic.
But this one is basically it's Julia Roberts, and the boy he has a disfigured face, and it's kind of his story of going through childhood, and it's the kid from Room, Jacob Tremblay from Room.
So who knows? Could be Oscar worthy.
Might at least
on how powerful
be on your radar. And then the one from the 17th that I do think is going to be an Oscar contender. It looks really powerful. Is Mudbound.
Yeah, I just watched a trailer today on it, and it looks exceptional. It looks.
Yeah, and it is. There's definitely racial themes with this, so it's very important today to today's.
It's very relevant. Yeah,
it's very relevant to what's going on now. Even though it looks like it's set in the Depression era.
Right.
But Mary J. Blige is getting rave reviews, which I think is incredible because I've already loved her.
She's got so much passion in her singing. It'll be interesting to see how her acting, how she brings that to the screen.
Absolutely. And then Carey Mulligan is in it, and I've always liked her. So look for Mudbound. That's going to be an award contender. And we move on to November 22nd.
Getting close to Thanksgiving, and apparently we have a death wish with Bruce Willis.
Well, it is kind of funny the dark tone of these films for Thanksgiving.
Well, it's counter programming. It's like there were a lot of horror movies that would come out on Christmas. This trend started a little while back, and I'm like, or near Christmas, and I don't really want to watch a dark film that time of the year, but some people want that counter programming, and once you find a hit somewhere, you're going to follow that formula and you're going to run it down until.
Now, in the list of films that should be remade, how high is Death Wish?
I don't know, and I think there's a major audience out there that doesn't remember that was a Charles Bronson movie.
Right, it's going to be reintroduced to a whole new. It
makes me want to go back and watch it. I just remember that being a badass kind of. Those 70s movies that were, like Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. Yeah, it was in that whole genre, and just Charles Bronson just looked like a badass. He just looked pissed all the time, and I like for good reason. I guess
that Eli Roth is directing this. He is a horror film director. He did Hostel and some really intense, gory films.
I'm pulling myself back there because I remember that being.
I think
very graphic.
So that tells me Death Wish it's going to be some graphic violence.
You can't have well, it's got Bruce Willis, so I think it's going to be graphic, but it's still Bruce Willis, so that kind of waters it down or pulls it more to the mainstream.
Maybe a little. Yeah.
Maybe in between that and just the just straight out horror like Hostel or something like that. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting.
And I hope it does well, honestly, because I miss Bruce Willis being in mainstream movies.
Yeah. If he made another Die Hard, I'd go see it.
Of course.
He's like Tom Cruise. I'll still go watch his movies. But, I mean, The Sixth Sense, of course, Shyamalan had a lot to do with that. I would like to see him, honestly, this is probably, I don't know if it's a spoiler alert, but they're going to be, or in development is the movie Glass, which is a direct sequel to Unbreakable with Samuel Jackson as Mr. Glass and Bruce Willis's character.
And you still haven't seen Split, so you don't get. I'll bring it over.
I know. I wanted to see it. It was one of those I didn't get
So you're missing a piece there. So
I am missing a piece.
Yeah, we'll have to see that.
I'll have to get Jigsaw to put back my puzzle.
There you go.
There you go.
So what else comes out there? Oh, Pixar. Pixar's movie Coco is coming out. It's a Latin American story.
Sweet.
Yeah, about it kind of centers around the Day of the Dead, and I think it looks really good. The Pixar usually never disappoints. So and it's music. There's music. Yeah. It's a musical.
Darkest Hour comes out that day. Also,
yes,
the 22nd of November.
I guarantee you, at the very least, Best Actor nomination for Gary Oldman for this. Looking at the trailers, he disappears into Winston Churchill. Amazing.
Well, I love history movies, so that's probably one I definitely want to see.
Absolutely.
In Churchill, he started the boy band thing, didn't he?
Of course.
No, I'm just making that up. I'm just pulling that out.
But yeah, I think that could definitely be one of your contenders for Best Picture. But at the very least, I mean, Gary Oldman, and he's been such an underrated actor as far as like winning awards. Like I think he's only been nominated for like one Oscar.
Is that Commissioner Gordon?
I don't even know. He might have never even been nominated. I should have done that research.
Wasn't he? He was also in. Was he in Planet of the Apes?
The second one.
Second one. Okay, yeah. So interesting to see. Also, we have one on November 22nd, Molly's Game.
Yeah, this one's getting buzz for Jessica Chastain's performance, which it doesn't matter what she does. She's always in the conversation, and it's Aaron Sorkin's directorial debut. We've got a lot of these directorial debuts from people that have been writers or actors, and this is Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah,
and then
he's been around for a while.
West Wing, Social Network. He's an amazing writer, so we'll see how he can direct. And now we get to
November 24th.
24th. Just a couple days later, we've got a couple of interesting ones. One's called The Current War with Benedict Cumberbatch and Michael Shannon.
Zod versus what do we say? Zod versus
well, you could say Doctor Strange, Khan, Sherlock. But yeah, it's the true.
This should have been in the Dark Universe,
Yeah, right. But it's a true life story of Thomas Edison and George Westmoreland, I believe. I can't remember if that's the right name, but it's it's about
Westinghouse.
Okay, yeah.
Westmoreland was a general. Wow, no, Thomas Edison takes on a general.
I've been watching the Vietnam.
I'm gonna fight you with light bulbs.
Yeah, I've been watching Ken Burns' Vietnam War, so I kind of got confused there. But yeah, it's the true story between their rivalry, their competition to get be the first.
Okay.
And then Call Me by Your Name. It's this festival, darling. It's kind of this May-December relationship between two men, and it's Armie Hammer and the young man playing his lover. They're getting rave reviews, and you could see them in the acting categories at the very least. And
Armie Hammer is good. There's a rumor, spoiler alert, that Armie Hammer may show up as the Green Lantern in Justice League. Don't know.
No,
that would be a good time to bring him in, but
yeah,
I don't want to detract from the other movie, Call Me by Your Name.
Oh no, because he's for the first time he's getting award recognition, and he's been very good for quite a while now.
December 1st.
December 1st, we've got a couple more there.
The Disaster Artist.
The Disaster Artist. This is getting huge, rave reviews. People are buzzing about this. James Franco directed and starring in, and it's this story about the making of the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, it sounds like I Got This, which would be my life, a movie about that. My famous line, I've got this, and then things fall apart.
And I've been trying to find this movie. It's actually called The Room, and it's is what it's based on. And it's widely considered one of the worst movies ever made. It's so bad, in fact, that people love it. And it's got that quality, like Ed Wood quality.
Right. It's become campy because it's so bad.
So that one is getting some really people are really talking about that one. And then Woody Allen's new one's coming out that same week called Wonder Wheel with Kate Winslet. And if you like Woody Allen, go check that out. He's, I really love most of his films, but his subject matter is redundant. It's infidelity and infidelity and bad timing, and it's just it's all like I think he's a genius, but again, it's just like how many times can you see the same themes? And I'm hoping that this will be a little different. We'll see.
Well, if sci-fi can beat everything to death, in sequels and 10 trilogies and of stuff, then if we
course.
can have a Freddy versus Jason, we can have more Woody Allen movies, I think, to balance
absolutely.
it.
I welcome it.
So let's see. The next one we have is Film Stars Don't Die.
Oh, that's on the 15th. You're getting.
Oh, did I jump
Yeah,
ahead?
we had to slide in the 8th there. We got.
Oh, I put that on the wrong line. Okay.
It's all right.
All right. So, I'm sorry. So then.
So we've got a couple on December the 8th there.
December 8th. Okay. Scratch that.
It's
This is recorded live in front of no studio audience. We should have people over. I should have people over. We could have a studio audience. They can jeer in the background and just talk amongst themselves.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Oh, okay. They can call BS on stuff. We can get into big arguments about the superheroes and stuff.
You have to charge admission though.
We should. This is a plan. We fetched a plan here. This is awesome. So,
So all the money,
I lost track.
all the money in the world.
Yeah, I wish I had part of it. So, what's this movie about?
This is Ridley Scott's newest film. He's producing Blade Runner, but he's directing this one, and it's basically the story of the kidnapping of the grandson of J. Paul Getty in I believe the 70s. Mm-hmm. A true story of the oil tycoon who wouldn't pay for his grandson's ransom. Not that funny. But
Oh gosh.
but it's I believe Michelle Williams.
It's a good actress.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Who else is in that? Oh, Mark Wahlberg's in that.
Feel the vibration.
And Kevin Spacey plays J. Paul Getty.
We found out from Pub Star Trivia that we play, that Mark Wahlberg is like really. It was like one of the highest. What was it?
He's number one.
He's like the number one
on the Forbes list. He's the richest, and you know why? He's got the Wahlburgers franchise is branching out.
Yeah.
I mean, in many locations, and he's got this new performance, like a muscle drug or what do you call it? Those powders,
muscle enhancement.
Those powders.
They don't have them for
creatine powders.
Is that what they're calling
whatever.
it now? They don't have that for podcasters.
So that's why he's dipping his hands in all sorts of things, and it's not just
I was
making
like off
millions.
of box office. I know he did Transformerless or whatever.
Yeah,
check out our episode.
No, it's not just.
He was
it's
the best
not
part of that
just
movie.
his acting income.
He's a good actor. He's. I mean, I like. A lot
Well,
of
and I
stuff
like
he's
him
in.
doing stuff like this. Like he's,
Yeah.
he's really good in The Departed. Like there's.
Oh yeah.
What was there's one called The Yards. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I don't think I have.
With Joaquin Phoenix and James Caan. He's great in that. I think Charlize Theron's in that one too, but that's another one of his. But anyway, I digress. I think that one will be good. It's Ridley Scott. He rarely misses. I mean, he has.
And he's got all the money in the world anyway, so.
There you go. But here's this one I'm really excited about. I love Guillermo del Toro. Pan's Labyrinth is one of my favorite films of all time. He did the Hellboy movies. He did.
I think Pan's Labyrinth. It won Labyrinth. I can't say that.
Labyrinth.
They change words so much and don't tell me. But I remember it winning when it came out. I remember it winning like best visuals or something. I don't know exactly. Yeah. It looked. I didn't really watch it much, but it just looked beautiful in a dark kind of way.
Oh yeah, it's set during the Spanish Civil War, so there's this war atrocities and everything in it in this fantasy. So I love that movie. But this is called The Shape of Water, and it looks like this beautiful film. Like it's got several Academy Award nominees. Let's see, Sally Hawkins,
and it's got a water monster or something in it. Like
yes, so there is this sci-fi element to it, which I think is interesting.
It's interesting. It's almost M. Night Shyamalan in a way, but not quite.
Sure,
it's got that little.
I mean, and I think when you saw the trailer, you said it. There's little elements of ET, and
it kind of definitely gave me the ET vibe. Yeah,
Right, you want to protect this creature from the powers that be,
because everybody wants to dissect and study and all that. So
So on top of Sally Hawkins, you've got Octavia Spencer, you got Michael Shannon.
Not on top of.
Yes, they are literally
stacked on top.
The whole movie.
They stacked this movie full of actors and actresses that are Academy Award worthy. They just laid them on the floor, stacked them on top of each other, and there's Academy Award. No.
Oh, that's how it works.
That's how it works.
That's how this business works.
Yeah, you just stack the movie with good actors.
So on December 8th, go check out The Shape of Water. I think that's going to be a great one.
I think that it's going to be shapeless, but that's just me because water can confine to it's whatever. Yeah, I'm going off. There I am.
Well,
did you see my thought pattern just go right off the road there?
Well, no, you like I get it though because
Yeah.
that's probably one
The
of
idea.
the
The idea of naming it that. So,
Yep.
so,
So now we move on to the 15th.
okay.
And now
there's
we can
a small
say-
small indie film that no one's ever going to watch or talk about. It's called Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
I'm
familiar.
trying to stay. You're not familiar.
I don't know what this is.
He's joking. Yeah, because I'll be living in the theaters in December. I'll probably have my own seat in the IMAX theater for this, and I'm gonna see it several times. And it's gonna be finally Luke Skywalker speaks, and after 30 something years.
You know what I like about this trailer, and I try not to watch all of them, but the main one that I've seen, it doesn't give anything away.
Right. I hate when the best part of your movie is in the trailer, especially if it's an action movie, a tentpole kind of movie or whatever, and the best parts of it are in the trailer, and you come away it's like, man, I could watch the trailer, but the movie sucked. Yeah, but yeah, I'm trying to stay away from this as much as possible, avoid stuff. I want to go in there, no spoilers. We will definitely not do a spoiler. We'll have a spoiler-free episode. Coming around December, I'll probably be flooding you with a bunch of episodes of Star Wars related stuff. Who knows? But I expect it to be exceptional. Now we know episode 9, they pretty much kicked the people off of that project. Carrie Fisher's death, at first we thought didn't change anything. It didn't for episode 8.
Not for this one.
Yeah, but when we get to episode 9, I think it's changed the whole thing. And hopefully
they have to deal with it. I mean, you have to.
Yeah, and there's the backlash that they may bring back J.J. Abrams. Yeah.
And who did episode 7.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that. So anyway, The Last Jedi is a Star Wars, and we're not going to even talk about it here because we're going to go into greater depth later on down the line. So other movies
that is, you have to emphasize though that is your most anticipated film.
It's been for the
Easily.
whole year. Yes.
I mean, it is.
But I'm really trying, and my good friend Anthony, he tells me that I need to. He's like totally staying away. Like, I think he's totally, anytime it's Star Wars, he kind of goes the other direction because he's like, because there was a movie I saw and he's like, stay away, or the last Force Awakens, he was the same way. And then I think we were very generally pleased with it. And so I expect this to just be another level. And then it being Carrie Fisher's last time on film as Princess Leia, there are so many elements that's just going to elevate the box office of this. It's going to be tremendous. I don't know if it's going to do as good as Force Awakens. It depends. But hopefully this is the Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy, the final trilogy of the Star Wars saga. So anyway, let's move me along before I spend another hour on this. But
can you? No,
I can.
No, I know.
Also on December 15th, coming out, we have Ferdinand.
Yeah, which it's a beloved children's book it's the bull, the friendly bull, is voiced by John Cena. Another one of the animated films. And looking at this list, there aren't a lot of animated films. It looks like there's The Star, Coco, and Ferdinand. It looks about it.
The last Pixar movie was like one of the least performing ones. It's out now. I can't even think of the name of it. That's how low it is on my radar.
It's out now.
Yeah. Oh, I've forgotten what it was. Shouldn't have brought it up.
Cars 3.
No. Well, I didn't bother. I want Incredibles 2, and I think eventually getting that.
Oh yeah, it's coming
one day before I die. So we got Ferdinand. Then we have. Is it the cue for this now? Film Stars Don't Die comes out December 15th.
Correct. Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool. It's gonna be one of those that if you're interested in seeing a strong lead performance, female lead, it's Annette Bening is getting huger rave reviews.
She's been
for
around
this,
forever, so
where she plays it's a real true story of Gloria Graham, who was an actress back in the day, and she plays Gloria Graham in this. And so she's again, she's one of those that has never won an Oscar,
right?
And if the timing's right and the role is right, And
there's not too many, obvious
right
people this
she
year.
could win.
She could win
just
on that wave of saying, we got to acknowledge her.
Right.
But is it the best work of the year? Not all.
And I don't, I definitely don't always agree with that, but I
Right.
understand it.
Yeah. Then the last thing we have coming out on the 15th, worth noting, is Gotti.
Which is interesting. Like John Travolta, I don't know if this is going to be good or not.
He's a good actor. Because one of my all-time favorite movies, and totally different feel, but Phenomenon. I still love that movie to this day. It's just a beautiful movie, and I think his best performance on screen.
Of course.
There's Saturday Night Live and all that.
Pulp
Saturday
Fiction.
Night Live, listen to me.
Of course.
Saturday Night Fever.
Live.
Yeah.
Of course, Pulp Fiction, his rebound, and then
Yeah. But and Michael was good.
Yeah, I was going to say Michael. Yeah.
But for me, Phenomenon, I just loved the character. He just very interesting movie, interesting script, and all that. And I loved all the people in it.
Yeah, I don't know if this will be a decent movie, if it'll be a decent performance, but it could be.
I feel like this is going to be kind of like the Ben Affleck movie. No relationship.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Live by Night.
Yeah, kind of like that. I know they're not. I'm not saying they're similar at all. I just feel like it's not going to do as well for
People just overlook it.
They'll and it's,
Interesting fact about it, though, is that Kelly Preston, his real life wife, is playing his wife in the movie. And I don't know how many times they've really done that, but
Well, I wonder. Apparently, she must do it well if she's still his wife. So she plays that role well.
Yeah.
And at home, does
does.
that mean she gets paid for that? Because she should.
from the church.
Oh, anyway, moving on. So that was December 15th. We were looking at December 20th, and the movie The Rock is in this. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Jack Black and The Rock and
Jumanji something.
Kevin Hart.
Jumanji 2. I don't know the
It's
official title.
Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. Yeah, it is
You know where you are?
and
You're in the jungle, baby.
baby.
You're gonna die.
So it's from what I've read, it's a sequel. Like so there is a tie-in to the original. So, but this
Robin
time
Williams
it's-
was in the original.
Yeah, and I love the original. Robin Williams, David Allen Greer. I remember seeing that in the theater. Just such a cool movie.
Yeah.
And
It's different,
they've
yeah.
updated it this time to it's a video game, and then these actors are playing against their type. So it's like they're teenagers that go into the video game.
That could work.
It's kind of clever. It's like The Rock. He's like inside the guy that's playing him, and is like he is basically.
What does that feel like? I don't. It feels like another movie I've seen, but it
It's
could
like
work.
it's the body switching movies, vice versa,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
Freaky Friday and stuff like that. It's
Which
got
were
that
fun,
same
yeah.
thing, but it's like the Jack Black character, like the person inside of him is a teenage girl. So like he acts like a teenage girl when they're in the game, So it's like they're playing. All these guys are playing against type. And then you've got
Speaking of, I was moving
go
on
for
for
it.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pitch Perfect 3. We're talking about teenage girls, etc. Sort of. Kind of moved on from that.
well, they're college age, but yeah.
Okay, they're college age.
They're dealing with life after college.
Is that girl going to do that Cup song or whatever in there?
Probably not in this one,
Okay,
but
good,
I actually like this franchise. I think it's really funny.
Yeah, you surprised me with this one. I was like, okay, we'll include this movie, but I'm like, I'm not going to see it. I'm sure it's. If
I
it
think
comes
it's
on
very
TV, I
funny.
might watch it.
I think it's a really funny franchise, and
Maybe I'm not giving it enough credit. I don't know.
but I also like movies with songs and music too. But I think it's going to do well. It's another one of those comedies that where there's not a lot of comedies around it.
And we have another one, December 22nd, Bright.
Yeah, that's coming straight to Netflix. It's David Ayer, who did Suicide Squad. He directed that. He directed Fury. He's End of Watch. Like, people, as much as they want to shoot down Suicide Squad, they got to remember David Ayer is an amazing filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like, so this one, I think.
He's no Joel Schumacher. Good for him.
But no, this one's interesting. It's like, what if orcs and all these fantastic
and this has Will Smith in
creatures,
it.
Will
Yeah.
Smith.
So I'm already interested.
Yeah, and it's just like this interesting, like there's orcs on the police force, and it's like everybody living in like it's just like this bizarre kind of.
Did you see
alternate
the
universe.
movie? I think it's Collateral Damage. Was that the name of it? With
Collateral
Will Smith?
Beauty? I did
Collateral
not.
Beauty.
I did not see it.
It's a good movie. It got kind of panned. It didn't do
It
so
did. The
well.
reviews were terrible.
But it had, I think it had Meryl Streep in
It
it.
had Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren.
Oh,
Keira
they changed
Knightley,
it. Yeah.
So
I enjoyed
great
it.
Actors.
Yeah, it was an interesting concept. I think it was a more interesting script than probably a movie, but
I think this will be good. They premiered some scenes at Comic-Con and people were excited about it. So, but now we get into these last ones. They're all like these could be serious Oscar contenders,
right? And this is like the end of December is like your last chance, right, to really get in any kind of submissions.
The
for
last
Oscars.
push. You'll see all these Oscar films come out on December 25th through the 31st, just to get them out there. And the first one, and I'm really, really excited about this one. I think there's probably drama, but it's more there's going to be comedy, and it's called Downsizing, with Kristen Wiig, Matt Damon, and Jason Sudeikis. An interesting idea where they actually, it's kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where they actually shrink to save the planet. To save resources, money, and everything. So there's this whole
interesting.
idea.
That's an interesting concept.
Absolutely. High concept. I think it's going to be one that people really dig and will do well in award season. And then one that I haven't read much about, but it's Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, and Meryl Streep all attached to the same project.
Wow.
Called The Papers. So I just it's basically the premise is they're chronicling the front page war between the Washington Post and Richard Nixon over the Pentagon Papers, and I believe Meryl Streep plays the Washington Post editor or whatever. But it's just to have that trio. I mean,
that's amazing. Yeah, just to show up in the theater and say, "Hey, look at all them on screen."
So when you see those names, Spielberg, Hanks, Streep, Oscar could be in the cards.
You wonder who gets the top billing.
Yeah,
and,
I think they'd give it to Spielberg. You got to give it to Steve.
Well, I mean, but
acting.
For acting, well, Spielberg, of course, but for directing. But
you put Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep's name on.
I think you have to put them equal at that point. She's like the most nominated actress. That's the safe bet to go to Meryl Streep. If that was a horse you had in a race, 9 times out of 10 she's going to win. So.
And then there are a couple more on Christmas Day as we round out this. The first one, because there's not much known about it, I'll start with that one, and that's the untitled P.T. Anderson film, the phenomenal director behind Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood, reunited with Daniel Day-Lewis. The word is that this is his last role. Now, is that true? Who knows? But he's the icon, the greatest living actor, in my opinion, and maybe of all time. And the fact that he's come out and said that this could be it, who knows? This could be his 4th Oscar.
What is the so we don't know the title? You said it's still untitled.
They haven't
officially titled it.
The premise is basically all that I've seen is that Day-Lewis stars as a 1950s London dressmaker. And that's all I've really seen about it. So there's not a lot of information about it. And,
as we get closer to release, I'm sure there'll be more. We'll see
absolutely. And who knows? Maybe there's a chance that it doesn't make it in time. I hope that's not the case because, if Daniel Day-Lewis is in his final role, it needs to be a part of the award season.
And that even ups the ante even more because will he get, if this is his last role, will this be a strong enough script, a strong enough performance by him? Will he get it, just like the one we said, help me out, Warren Beatty's wife?
Annette Bening.
Yeah. Is she going to get it because, she hasn't got it? And is he going to get it because this is his last role ever, supposedly? Right. A self-imposed exile from acting or whatever. I don't know.
Well, he's always been interesting like that. Like starting in the early 90s, he started to take these long breaks between movies, at least 5-6 years. And he would be very selective. And so when he commits to a role, it's got to be really good. Like he knows it's on the page and that he knows that it's, there's quality there and that he's going to knock it out of the park. So yeah, definitely excited about that.
And the last thing on our list, or one of the last, I guess, coming out the 25th is of December, The Greatest Showman.
Yep, that's Hugh Jackman. His post-Logan days are starting, And this one, he goes back to his song and dance like that. You know, we know he can because he's a Tony
he can.
Award
Yeah,
winning.
he's a triple threat.
So
For a moment, I had a flash of Russell Crowe and Les Miserables. I was like, okay, stay away from that.
Again,
but Hugh Jackman
that,
can do it.
Yeah.
He's that versatile an actor. And
well, Les Mis was when I realized, oh yeah, he is talented.
And that's true. And he was in there. Excuse me. Yeah. But I mean, he'd been on the Tony Awards, and I mean, I'm not really in that world of watching a lot of theater and stuff.
So it wasn't until Les Mis that I really understood that he was that talented.
I've seen him. I think I probably watched the Tonys before and seen him on there when he hosted one time or whatever. And he was a great song and dance man as well as a great actor and as well as Wolverine. So,
Well, and this is interesting. The premise of the movie, it's the real story behind Barnum and Bailey.
Yeah.
And getting
P.T.
how that circus started. And it's him and Zac Efron. Zendaya is in it, the Disney.
I wonder if there's going to be any kind of backlash because circuses aren't as popular anymore.
Well, it just
the treatment of animals supposedly
appropriate
allegedly.
because they just shut down Barnum and Bailey. So it's kind of this. I think it's going to be kind of this love, a love song in a way to the industry.
This may be a movie that totally no one sees. I don't know, but it may still be a very good movie.
I think it's at the very least it will be up for Golden Globes for like best musical.
Okay, yeah,
because it's a musical, and so it's going to.
It's interesting to see it as a musical,
Yeah, and it wasn't originally going to be, from what I understand.
Well, that totally flips the script, quite literally, on that. So if it's not, I don't know how you would do it. Well, when you say musical and that, it makes you just question the angle they're coming at it at. Are they being serious, facetious, or
No, I think it's a serious musical. I mean, in the realm of Les Mis
But do you think the average?
I think most comparable is Moulin Rouge, probably. Okay. It looks a lot like that.
Do you think that the average, and this is a big generalization, do you think the average person that a moviegoer is going to like a musical like this? I mean, on this subject matter, I don't know.
I wouldn't think so, but I wouldn't have thought La La Land did so well, box office wise. Like, I get it. Like when the
Academy Award came out for Best Picture, they didn't think it did either. Yeah, it just seems like, I don't know. I don't know about this movie. I don't know that I'll see it, but it could be interesting. It could be great performances and no one sees it, or it could be that one out of left field.
I think that it's going to fall into that category of it's nominated for a lot of awards, so people are going to go see it. And I think that's probably what happened with La La Land. I certainly didn't expect it. I loved it, but I didn't expect everybody to go flock to go see it.
Yeah.
But that's what happens during award season when all these commercials come out and say nominated for 8 Academy Awards.
And you're like, well, if they nominated it, I trust them enough that, the Academy, that I got to check this out, And word of mouth is can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. So it's crushed a lot of movies, especially sci-fi movies, word of mouth, and it's helped others too. Like Wonder Woman. My gosh, Wonder Woman's a statement for women, lead female actresses. I mean, there's so many lists of why you should watch a movie without even seeing it, how good it is, and so it's something like that. The female director, there's a lot of reasons why, other than the movie, to see it, but hopefully this will turn out a good one. So is there anything we left off the list? I mean, this has been a very extensive list, so
I'm sure we did.
I'll be broke if I watched all these movies, but even half of them.
I try to.
We want to know what you all think out there. Hit us up on Twitter at Geek Homeworld. Let us know, and we'll come back and look at some of these movies. Obviously in our year-end review, we'll be looking and we'll see which of these movies. And when we get into Academy Award season, we'll be looking forward and previewing, what gets Golden Globes nominations and all that. And the same with the Academy Awards. And we'll see, what's going to happen in award season. So this is an exciting time. I'm more excited about the fall fall, winter, I guess you would call it, or at least fall to the end of the year.
Absolutely. I think we touched on a lot of films that are going to be relevant in the next few months that are going to be, recognized during award season. And then there are also the ones like Thor and Star Wars that are going to be
just fun.
Great fun.
Yeah.
And, they could get award recognition and as far as like visual effects and sound and whatnot. But, I'm waiting I really want to see a Star Wars that is Best Picture worthy. And I hope that they can do that.
I don't know if Last Jedi, I don't know yet, but that's what I'm hoping it's the Empire Strikes Back because that's arguably the best Star Wars film ever, the original trilogy. And we don't count the first three because there's really not a good one there. There's even the third one to me is the best, but it's still, I give the prequels more credit than anyone else. I don't specifically. I mean, I do, but I'm not the only one, I should say. But anywho, I hope Last Jedi is that movie. But it's kind of like in superhero movies, and I've seen this discussed online. Will there ever be another movie as brilliant as The Dark Knight? I think Logan came the closest.
Yeah.
Because basically you had to take the whole, you had to gut the movie basically of the sci-fi in it, or not so much The Dark Knight, but you really had to make it real. Logan was basically a Western, So
see, and there are movies like Logan
that transcend
throughout this whole year that have come before this that I hope the awards, that the Academy and that the voting bodies don't forget about.
Right, and that's
Logan deserves it, and Get Out definitely deserves some recognition.
I could see Get Out getting something. I mean, in Hugh Jackman, I mean, that was one of his definitely as Wolverine, his most powerful performance. But I want to say that I enjoyed that movie, but there was a part of me that missed some of the Wolverine-ish, the comic part of it.
I think
not comic isn't funny, but comic isn't.
The group camaraderie is missed.
Yeah,
still, I think
it's a powerful,
damn near perfect film.
Yeah,
So movies like that, Get Out, Dunkirk, Detroit. I just think these films, I hope they don't get forgotten about.
Well, that's a good point because especially when we get to the end of the year, because like Dunkirk is probably going to get a lot of nominations. It's probably going to be the front runner, possibly even, without seeing anything else on the list here. But we'll find out, and we'll certainly be talking about it.
Yeah, as the months pass, and the picture will get a lot clearer which ones are the front runners.
Yep. Alrighty, well, thank you, Scott, for joining us on this very special, very long episode.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Of the Geek Homeworld podcast. So hit us up at Geek Homeworld on Twitter and let us know what your thoughts are about this, and we'll be following the movies. Anyway, we thank you for listening, and go see a movie. Bye. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Geek Homeworld podcast with your host, Savage Tech Man. You can find us on Libsyn, Google+, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, listen to us on iTunes, see us on YouTube, be part of our Mixler chats. Thank you. See you again on the Geek Homeworld podcast.